Alright, let's continue. How long I mean, it's probably just been
It's not long.
This last chapter is extremely short by comparison.
Let's go.
After we chased them out, nobody wanted to say anything. All the suspicious ones have been driven away. Even though we knew there might be some innocents among them, we still did it. We chased them out of this paradise. People didn't have to suspect each other. But our motives for chasing them out was suspicion of one person towards another. The worst kind of crime for a human. Except for the existence of a 19th person of the witch. And we all might be still be talking face to face, trusting in each other. In that instant, we had to chase out all the suspicious people. But had that been the right thing to do? During this endless silence, we could nothing but be quietly tormented by that sin. And Natsuhi faced the door, without letting go of her rifle for even an instant, sitting far back in the sofa. Always spent the night staring at the door without a wink of sleep. Looking permanently tired. Jojaniki gazed through a gap in the closed curtains by the window, looking down at the courtyard and the mansion that surrounded it. I didn't know whether he was checking to see if a suspicious shadow had become visible through the window, whether he was wondering to himself about something. Jessica was sitting sideways on the sofa next to Aunt Natsuhi, the dead expression on her face. And every once in a while, as though she just remembered something, take out the inhaler she had been using during her asthma attack, and stick it in her mouth. I just heard from Aniki that apparently Jessica liked Kanin-kun. It was apparently so vague that she hadn't realized it herself. You know, I think that other people tend to spot before the person in question realizes it. Which means she might have first learned of her feelings when the person she liked died. It must have been so terrible. So sad. Come to think of it, Kanin-kun was the only one who handed her the inhaler. Maybe she was remembering that. I was fishing around Grandfather's study. I researched the meaning of the circle and the magic circle in the letter's second sheet. And they were shut up here in the defensive position. My rebellious nature made me want to find some key, some way to resist. After all, we got plenty of time before tomorrow morning. Who could fault me for how I used that time? No one else showed that much interest in the magic circle. Its meaning was unknown. And once we understood it, we were sure to find some message that would cause us unnecessary anguish. I felt the same way. However, I just couldn't ignore it, so I killed time by going through the motions of researching it.
You sure are enthusiastic. Did you find anything that might serve as a hint?
Not a thing. The first tough part is finding a book written in Japanese. How many languages could Grandfather read? He's incredible.
Aren't you tired, Battler-kun? You should be taking a rest while someone else stays awake. Aunt Natsui said she'd stay up all night for us, but there's no way her body can handle that. We should take turns sleeping.
Then you sleep first, Aniki. I'll keep researching till I get sleepy.
You mean that magic circle just now?
Yeah. Got plenty of time to kill. That'll be interesting to find out what kind of message Beatrice-sama put in it.
Give it a rest. Mess around with stuff like that, and you'll end up getting possessed by something weird.
Don't worry. I've been certified by Maria. I've got no spiritual talent at all.
Were we too cruel to Maria?
Jessica, you mustn't think that now.
But Mom, if Maria wasn't involved and there's a culprit besides her, then she's obviously a soft target for the murderer. If she's killed because of this, then we've just left her to die.
The gloomy silence settled once again. Jessica regretted letting her emotions take hold of her and snapping at Maria. She's always been like that. I was acting tough and regretting it later.
I understand how you feel, but Maria was in close contact with the culprit. And she might have been siding with them, talking like that over and over to further confuse matters. I am relieved that we chased them out.
That's pretty harsh, Aunt Natsuhi. Couldn't just been the nonsense of a 9-year-old girl. It wasn't very convincing to hear that coming from me. I myself thought Marie was creepy on several occasions, even doubting her true nature. When Marie was chased out of this room, I couldn't deny I'd felt some relief.
If that is the case, then tomorrow we will apologize for what we did. I will take full responsibility for chasing them out of this room. This isn't something the rest of you have to worry about.
I could feel a tragic determination in Natsuhi's words. To protect her own daughter, she had resolutely chased out the suspicious ones. And if, as a result, to watch the people who had unfortunately been suspected die, so be it. For she was prepared to take full responsibility. Why does Maria have to keep saying stuff like that? She's bringing about her own ruin.
I think the reason Maria-chan adores witches and magic so much might be Aunt Rosa.
Aunt Rosa? What does she have to do with this?
Didn't you realize it too, Battler-kun? Maria-chan's real-life father ran off somewhere a long time ago. Although Aunt Rosa tried to confuse the issue by saying he's on a foreign business trip.
Talking about Rosa-san's family has become kind of taboo in the Yoshiramiya family.
I think Aunt Rosa thought about remarrying. But I also believe Maria-chan may have become her shackles and made that quite difficult. After all, she sometimes got really emotional and hit Maria-chan.
I agree with you there. It looked like Aunt Rosa was trying hard to like Maria. Which means that she didn't really like her. She might have thought of Maria as someone who stood in the way of her remarrying.
I think that emotional rejection from her mother must have left some deep scars on her young heart. So she learned about this occult hobby from somewhere and immersed herself in it to bury the holes in her heart. Did you know? To Maria-chan, the image of a witch isn't negative at all. Remember yesterday at the beach when she showed us her notebook?
Yeah. It's full of all those fun-looking scribbles. Yesterday when we were down at the beach, doubting the witch, Maria got all riled up and started explaining about witches. And on one of the pages that showed a picture of an ugly witch. They were brightly colored, beautiful, cute witches looked like they were having fun. There's nothing sinister about them, like a boy might have imagined. They're being adorned with beautiful dresses, grant anyone's dreams of their mysterious magic and who made everyone happy. The sorrow of not being loved by her mother. Had Maria sought help from the witches and as beings who could give her happiness and save her? Someday a witch would come, and using her wonderful magic would bring Maria happiness. Even though she believed that, and she grew older, she had to face reality, as her fleeting years were sliced to ribbons one by one. Maybe the witch of Kenjima appeared in front of a girl like that, whispering that she'd take Maria to the Golden Land, where Maria could be happy.
Now that it's come to this, I want to confess what's in my heart. Throwing out Maria-chan, no, Genji-san and the rest too, was probably the wrong thing to do. I think.
It wasn't pleasant.
Jessica had been the one to face them and slam them with words of rejection. Her conscience must be tormenting her a lot right now.
Then, how do you all explain that letter? No one could have said it there except the 4 people standing behind us. I made sure of that with my own eyes. If those 4 are innocent, how is that letter placed in a closed room with 8 people?
That's right. When you put it that way, those 4 really do seem suspicious. But it's all useless. It's all useless.
Useless. What is?
Right. I know you're worth anything anymore, but let me spin the chessboard around again. In other words, if one of those 4 really was the culprit, isn't that weird?
That's right. Wasn't setting that letter openly on the table the same as confessing that one of them was the culprit? You're right. That's weird. If they were going to do it, you'd think they'd put it in the crack of the door, for example, make it look like someone had slipped in from the outside. Of course, they should have known that. They'd be suspected if they didn't make it look like the culprit was outside the room.
Yeah, that's it exactly. If the culprit was one of those 4, putting the letter right in the middle of the table would be both risky and meaningless. But putting that aside, whatever trick was used to set it there, assuming that the culprit is someone other than the 4. In other words, someone who is outside the room. He had a lot to gain from that letter.
Enough, Battlercon. It's meaningless to discuss such matters now.
Natsuhi-san quickly guessed at what I was getting at. No. Maybe she had thought of it long before I had. Only held her tongue. If the culprit outside the room, they'll definitely totally stuck the moment we shut ourselves up in a closed room like this. That's right. Same as my theory about how grandfather disappeared from this room, isn't it? Theory was that grandfather left this room of his own accord. Culprit using the same tactic to lure him out. Rather let grandfather left of his own accord than... Come to think of it. Run the scrubby magic circle on the doorknob to the study. Maria said it herself. Beatrice couldn't get through this door. But she could induce someone to leave of their own accord.
Which would mean we fell for the culprit's trap completely. And sent out some new potential sacrifices.
Gone?
No.
Con, you good?
Sorry, my youngest sister burst into my room and started going on about the new Loki episode and Sonic Prime stuff.
Oh, jeez.
Oh.
Jeez.
She's happy.
Nice.
Oh.
Genji and the rest aren't fools. When they try to protect themselves, they should find the next safest place after this room. They will definitely be able to hide themselves there.
Natsuhi hadn't answered the question. Natsuhi herself had realized that if the culprit wasn't in our group back then, the letter would make sense as a trap. However, it wasn't worth the risk of calling back the people she had once thrown out. Natsuhi, right now, her greatest and only duty was to protect the children. By her thinking, in order to do that, a few sacrifices were unavoidable. Hey, Natsuhi. Let me say something a little harsh, okay? At the time, what if, by coincidence, Jessica had also been standing behind you? Would you have chased Jessica from the room too? It's true that a lot of brutal things have happened. But as a mother, you thought you should protect your daughter no matter what. Because of that dude, you chased them out. Even though you knew that you'd eventually be held responsible for it. It's not like I'm condemning that. But, I was just thinking about what a great mother Jessica has.
That's right. You've been dealing with these incidents since morning, and you've been pulling all of us along the whole time, without you losing your composure. If you were all confused too, then the rest of us would have probably been in a culprit's grasp by now. So I think we all have you to thank.
Thank you.
So, what you two are trying to say is that you want her to act as Maria's mother, too? Mm. I always thought of Maria as a real little sister and adored her. And yet, a few things happened. We got a little confused. And I said a lot of mean things to her, hurting her. Mom, please. Let's stay together with Maria. No, everyone. There was no culprit among us. The culprit in this case is the witch Beatrice, okay? So, let's stop suspecting each other.
Nazi closed her eyes for a short while. Was she coping with her throbbing headache again? Or was she thinking of something?
You are my precious daughter. The one I finally received a whole 12 years after I married my husband. I would become the worst kind of demon to protect you.
That was some pretty strong language at the end there. She realized very well that her words were an idealized view of what a mother should be. Even so, she was strongly resolved to protect her daughter, even if she had become a demon. But that was her guilty conscience tormenting her. The day's been so long. So many things happened in one day. Oh, fuck. And we've been driven into a corner so thoroughly. I don't know if we have the right to greet tomorrow the way we are now. There it is. I found it. It's the magic circle. The book I'd been flipping through. I'd found the same magic circle that had been drawn on the second sheet of the letter. George Anarchy peered at it as well. The magic circle's name was the third magic circle of Mars. The Hebrew written on it was from Psalm 77, verse 13 of the Old Testament. What God is so great as our God? The meaning of the magic circle was discord. Agitate internal divisions and cause the enemy to bring about their own downfall. Wait a sec. Seriously? Would it be a more fitting way to describe our current situation and mental state? We cannot be stunned into silence.
So, this letter was a trap? How did they place it here? There wasn't anyone in this room except for the 8 of us, right?
Anyway, let's know how they got in here for now. Culprit was after just one thing. They wanted to spread the seed of doubt inside the impregnable room. Use to throw the sacrificial sheep out.
In that case, they're after the people who went out of the room.
Mom, what should we do? Those 4 are in danger.
It wasn't surprising that Nazi remained unpleasantly silent. Yeah, that was all a trap to the culprit. By the culprit. Yeah, the four who had been chased out of the room were in danger. Nothing to do with the safety of the 4 people in here. There's no way to prevent the innocence of the 4 people we chased out. If we're willing to let them die, then we shouldn't leave this room no matter what. That way is safest. At that time, suddenly, the piercing sound of a phone rang through the room. Here's the antique extension phone set on the table in Grandfather's study. It rang right after we started talking about the letter being a trap. After we think of this as an SOS from the ones we'd chased out. But then Aunt Nazi spoke.
Why a phone call? The phone should be broken down and unusable.
That doesn't matter. That's Maria calling for help.
If the problem with the phones was the culprit's work in the first place, then this call is probably...
With that one sentence, the ring on the phone, which had sounded like a scream for help, now sounded like a ghastly lure from some unknown person. Now Nazi hesitated over whether to pick up the receiver.
Let's pick it up, Aunt Natsui. The phones might have been fixed for some reason. It could still be an urgent call from Maria-chan and the rest.
That's right. And if it actually is a call from the culprit, bring it on! Pardon me. Why don't we listen to what they've got to say? It's just a phone call. No matter what they babble through the receiver, it's not like it's gonna hurt you.
If you don't
So
pick
to
it up,
speak.
then I will.
I will take it. Hello?
I stretched my hand over to take the receiver, but Aunt Natsuhi grabbed it before I could reach. We held our breath, trying to figure out who the person on the other end of the phone was. But for a while, Aunt Natsuhi kept saying hello. A silent phone call? There's no Maria and the others would do something so creepy. Which means, this phone call possibly really be. Natsuhi started repeating hello and strained her ears. Because she thought she heard something far away on the other end of the receiver. What was that?
Huh? Is someone singing?
What do you mean? Singing?
I don't know. Faintly, from the other end of the phone, I can hear someone singing. I wonder what it could be.
Give it here for a sec. Hello? Huh? At first, the receiver from the stunned Aunt Natsuhi's hand and pressed it against my ear. At first, I didn't hear anything. As I'd been told about it for beforehand, I noticed. It sounded far from the receiver, and then someone speaking in a quiet voice, like a girl singing a song. The voice did sound like Maria's. That made the situation even more inexplicable. At the very least, the one who made the phone call hadn't been Maria. After all, Maria was singing in some song far away from the receiver. In that case, the one who made the phone call should have been Genji-san, Kumasawa-san, or Dr. Nanjo. And yet they weren't saying anything. Why? For what reason? The person who made the phone call. Who was it? Hey! Hello? Who is it? Answer me! Is that Maria singing? Answer me!
What's happening? What is it?
I don't know! All I can say is, this is probably a trap, and Maria's in trouble. Aunt Natsuhi took the receiver again, after yelling into it for several more times. That she wasn't getting anywhere and hung up. After that, she dialed quickly. Then she clicked her tongue. That's right. The phones are working. We should be able to reach the police. But judging by Aunt Natsuhi's reaction, the outside telephone line still didn't connect.
Let's go. Even if we know it might be a trap, we have to go.
Yeah, definitely. Jessica, Aunt Natsuhi, stay here! And Anaki and I tried to dash out. Aunt Natsuhi stopped us.
Hold it. I cannot let you go alone. I will go too. Jessica, wait here.
What? So I'll be the only one left out? Nice try, but I'm going too.
Yeah, might be better that way. If the goal of that phone call was to split us up further, it wouldn't be a good idea to leave someone to watch this room.
There's no time to argue. Let's all go. Now!
And Natsuhi raised the rifle high and took the lead. I couldn't go unarmed myself. Found a 3-pronged candle and stand and readied it. Although the pins in it used for fit candles were short, it was like a 3-pronged spear. He's using a menorah as a weapon. And the 4 of us left the study. Left the study, which should have been the safest place inside the mansion. By doing this, we'd been lured out, even though we had barricaded ourselves in a safe, closed room. Perhaps we were. Exactly the same thing Grandfather had done when he disappeared from that room.
Maria! Where are you? Answer me!
I listened closely, but I didn't hear anything. The mansion was vast, and since the passing typhoon was making it its last stand, the sound of the rain was even noisier than before.
Maria-chan says she wanted to watch TV inside the parlor, right? Let's try going downstairs.
That's right. Let's try there. Everyone, be mindful of your surroundings.
Yeah! When a Nazi with that Nazi in the center, her rifle ready and her finger on the trigger. We moved in a group, our backs together, checking our surroundings in all directions. As though the magic of the magic circle designed to spread discord had worked. We had split up, and furthermore had been dragged out into dangerous territory. In other words, even now, we're doing just what the culprit wanted us to do. This is a separate world where it wouldn't be odd for things to suddenly occur. And Nazi, he nervously pointed to the barrel of the gun at every dark spot and shadow. Like the motion was out of fear rather than caution. But the rifle she held in her hand shouldn't have been a trump card the culprit feared. Should have.
You know, I've been thinking. It wouldn't be impossible to stick one of those ice picks into someone's chest, like in Kanneken's case. Okay. But splitting the skull and sticking them into the forehead, like in my parents' case, wouldn't be that easy.
I think the culprit had that kind of animal strength.
They probably had some kind of weapon, a device that could shoot or pound in those ice picks. That handle was too short to be driven in that deeply by human strength alone.
Either way, they have enough force to break through a skull. I heard Cannon's wound reached as far as his lungs. If you happen to see your opponent, don't go forwards. You mustn't move away from my back.
Just how sinister and frightening was the weapon that could shoot those creepy ice picks. Is there anything to combat it just this candle stand in my hand? In the first murder, the culprit probably assaulted all 4 of our parents at once, to discuss the inheritance problem in the dining hall. And there were 4 of us here now. Apparently I wasn't the only person thinking this. George Anarchy, Jessica, and of course, Natsuhi were stretching their sense to the utmost limit, in the highest and worst state of tension, slowly advancing one step, then another. What have we done? This is the seeds of doubt spread by that one letter. Threw Maria and the rest into the middle of this terrifying world. We finally reached the first floor. The parlor's just across the hall. When we listened carefully, we could hear it faintly. Maria's eerie singing voice. She wasn't singing naturally, as though she were in a good mood. She was singing mechanically, like she was at a graduation ceremony and she'd been ordered to. The song she sang was just a common folk song, one that everyone had probably sung in their school at one time or another. But why that? In the middle of the night alone, with all of her heart, over and over. Why? After leaving the study, we had called out in loud voices, asking Maria where she was. But at the time, no one said even a single word. We had our breath and the sound of our footsteps, intensely focused on our surroundings to the point of being completely high-strung. We stepped forward. The door to the parlor was closed. We could hear Maria's singing voice through it. At Natsuhi put her hand on the handle of the doorknob, when George Anarchy stopped her.
I'll open the door. Aunt Natsui, Balor-kun, ready your weapons!
Understood. Take care.
They might attack as soon as we open it. George Nissan, watch yourself.
Sure. Then, I'll open it. Huh?
Tried to open it, but immediately felt the hard resistance of the lock. And Natsu took the bundle of keys from her pocket and gave them to George. There were about 10 keys, and none of us had a clue which was which. Because of this, George had to fumble around loudly and test several of the keys. We had hidden our footsteps, bringing such a surprise attack on this room. This felt almost fatal. This whole time, we could hear Maria's voice from the parlor, singing the same song over and over. Like a broken, crazy cassette tape. Been in that room almost constantly since morning. All the frightening things that occurred outside that room. was with the impression that only this room was safe. That base's impression was quickly falling apart.
It's open!
Thank you.
Weird angle.
George, Jessica, move behind me.
Natsuhi. Should at the same time slip the different directions. We stand around after opening the door, those ice picks might fly right through the center.
I agree. Ready?
I really wish I could say no. I readied myself. They're gonna be throwing ice picks. I'll whack them with this candle stand.
Go.
Natsu and I rammed the door before flying into the parlor. We were splitting up left and right and searching the parlor for someone who might be waiting for us. But what our eyes landed upon was an incredibly strange sight. The parlor was stained with blood. This place, we spent almost the entire day, pressed in together to protect ourselves from some unknown malice. Had been stained with fresh blood. Become an ocean of blood! On the floor lay Genji-san, Kumasawa-san, and Dr. Nanjo. Their entire bodies stained bright red with the blood. The only way we could identify them was by their clothes. That was because... that's right. This is how this whole tragedy started. Their faces. It was like our smashed up parents in the shed. You couldn't tell what their eyes stopped and their noses began. It was as though they'd really plunged their face into tomato pot pies, all squished up. Ah! And that wasn't all. Their bodies had other wounds. It was those demon ice picks. They were in Genji-san's stomach, Sanjo's thigh. No, his knee. That's right. Of course it's his knee. And the epitaph, the sixth twilight, was the stomach. Seventh twilight, the knee was gouged. But seeing one of them stuck near Kumasawa Ba-chan's left calf, I couldn't help but masochistically laughing. Ah, that's right. The sixth twilight gouged the stomach and kill. Seventh twilight gouged the knee and kill. Eighth twilight gouged the leg and kill. Ah, even the eighth twilight is over. The next one, the ninth twilight. What was it again? Maria was there.
You motherfucker said there wouldn't be any other jump scares than this! I am not fucking cool with this! At the same time, let's go! Let's go! Jump scare me, bitch! I'm ready for
I don't
it!
think it's gonna be a jump scare.
Anyone like Blair Witch Project?
Bring it on!
I don't think it's gonna be a jump
Blair
scare.
Witch Project.
I'm guaranteeing
I see what
this is
you
a
did
fucking
there,
jump scare. I
even
know
if
jump scares when I
unintentional.
see them.
She was facing the wall in the other part of the room, standing stock still, completely alone. She faced away from the horrible scene, standing by the wall, singing her song over and over. Nothing else in the room. But the corpses of the three had been brutally killed, and the phone receiver, which was still off the hook, bringing us with the room the call had come from. Just that and Maria, her back to the scene, she kept on singing while facing the wall. Couldn't even scream at this bizarre scene. I stare shocked with our mouths hanging loosely open. Gone.
Maria?
Jessica called out to her. Maria showed no reaction. Alone, she kept singing on and on. We had come here trying to save Maria from some approaching danger. And though we had found her, she had been running up to Maria, hugging her. Joyous that she was safe. And not one of us could do that. Everyone thought it, but they couldn't say it. After all, because, that's right. Even if that's crazy. No, it couldn't be! Maria! Stop singing! Are you listening? At some point, Natsu and I pointed their weapons at Maria's back. Held at Maria in a violent voice. There was no reaction. She just kept singing. The can still readied, I ran up to her, and forcefully, violently slammed my hand down on her shoulder. Pulled her shoulder, voicing her to turn around. Maria's small body was quickly pulled down and fell, though unhappy at having her singing interrupted. Maria looked into my face with her usual expression. In this gruesome situation, she was just like normal. Maria! What is this? Who did it?
Beatrice.
Cut the crap! The candlestick I've been holding against the wall. The violence of that reckless sound should have gone straight to Maria's heart. But Maria's expression didn't change at all.
Quit it, Maruya-kun. Maria-chan, this time, you should have seen the face of the culprit who killed these three. Was the culprit the same Beatrice that gave you the letter?
Beatrice.
Well, in that case, it's certain. There is a 19th person. Beatrice does exist. Then, Maria, at least tell me this much. How'd they kill these 3 people? What did they use to kill them in such a brutal way?
I don't know.
How could you not know? That happened in this room! Tell me that you were so absorbed in your singing that you didn't notice.
Calm down, Maruya-kun. Maria-chan! Talk to me. Okay?
Yojanaki, as he always did, crouched next to Maria so that their eyes met and talked to her in a very kindly.
Maria-chan, why were you facing the wall and singing?
Beatrice said to face the wall and keep singing for a long time.
So did Beatrice come here? Were Genji-san and the rest still alive then?
Everyone came into the parlor together and sat down. Genji-san made sure to lock the door.
It was locked when we got here. But then, how did Beatrice get into the parlor?
Beatrice is a witch, so locks don't matter. She turned into butterflies and came in through the crack in the door.
Huh? Call me joking at a time like this? Like hell that happened! What are you saying?
You can't believe it? That's why I didn't want to say. No matter how I say it, you won't believe. But Beatrice is a witch. She can do anything with her miraculous magic. That's why Beatrice doesn't care whether a door is locked or not.
And then, after Beatrice appeared, what happened to everyone?
Beatrice talked to us. She said grandfather's study was protected by a powerful force and she couldn't enter no matter what she did. So she told us she'd select 3 sacrifices from the 4 people in the parlor. Everyone said, no way. Kumasawa-san kept saying, no way, no way. But Beatrice chose. And when she did, Beatrice said I'd be fine. Why do you think? It's because of the scorpion charm with the 5th magic circle of Mars, the one Battler used to pray for my safety, the one he put his feelings into. Because of that power, Beatrice couldn't do anything to me and me alone. So she decided to use the other 3 as sacrifices. After that, Beatrice spoke.
Should I do my Beatrice voice, or...?
If you want to practice, go ahead.
Come, face the wall and sing a song for me. You will sing lots and lots of songs, so no matter what happens, no matter what you hear, you won't hear, you won't hear, you won't know. Come, sing lots of fun songs for me. How was that?
It was alright.
Fantastic.
That was good.
That was a nice British accent.
Again, Orange with the it was alright.
Which means I need to do better.
No, you just keep going, just keep going.
No, I think it was great.
Ouch, arm.
I'm interested in seeing it whenever we, well, never mind.
So I was singing the whole time.
Over and over. So I didn't hear anything. Didn't know anything. And then all of you came. Huh.
Are you asking us to believe that? You think we're stupid?
Yes. And who will you suspect this time? Will you suspect me? Gonna try killing me right here? Aren't ya? Even if you do that, Beatrice won't stop existing. Now the 8th twilight is over, and Beatrice will revive.
Are you serious? I've had enough of that talk. The witch could exist, and as if I'd let myself get tricked. I won't accept it. Beatrice doesn't exist. I definitely won't accept it. I won't let her exist. I won't let her revive. Legend will remain a legend forever. Why not something like that?
Quit it, Battler! It's not like Maria killed them or let them die. Beatrice came, and Maria had to obey, was unable to resist.
Huh? Natsui. She isn't here.
What?
Mom? Where did she go?
Just now, she left by herself reading a letter.
A letter? That makes sense. I was so exhilarated now that we've reached the 8th twilight. Let's left a letter so that I could brag even more. We're so wrapped up in questioning Maria that we forgot to look for a letter. But even as well armed as she was, why'd she left the room by herself in this dangerous mansion after reading it? You tried to chase after her and tug at the handle on the door. But strangely, it wouldn't open.
Mom! Mom! What's going on? Open up! Open up!
It was only natural. Nazi had picked up the candle stand, which Battler had thrown at the wall, which had fallen to the door. She had then skillfully wedged it between the doorknobs and the double doors like a bolt, holding them closed. The intricate design of the candle stand caused it to get caught solidly, and it really did make a sturdy seal on the door. The tragic scream of a daughter for her mother. Did it reach Natsuhi's ears, or not? Natsuhi's figure was alone in the entrance hall. It was the place decorated by the portrait of Beatrice. Natsuhi threw down Beatrice's last letter, the one that she had read in the parlor. Raided her rifle again, and in a voice that rang clear, yelled in the massive space that was the entrance hall.
I am Ushiramiya Natsuhi, representative of the Ushiramiya family. Show yourself, Golden Witch Beatrice!
The entrance hall was dimly lit. Other than a faint light which shone in the center of the room, everything was blotted out by the jet black darkness. In that darkness, butterflies glittering in gold squirmed, twinkled, and sneered. Natsuhi gave one more huge gulp and pointed the cold barrel of the gun at the gold butterflies.
So you have finally shown yourself. I still can't believe that something like you really exists. But that isn't a problem. Both I, who bear the title of representative to the Ushiramiya family, and you, who claim to succeed the headship of the Ushiramiya family, are here right now. At this point, whether you are a witch or not is a trivial matter. Come, let us settle this. Which of us will truly succeed the Ushiramiya family? I, Ushiramiya Natsuhi, or you, Beatrice? Allow me to respectfully accept your request for a duel.
The gold butterfly slowly formed a human shape, which walked into the dim light. Natsuhi readied the rifle and glared. The witch raised her golden staff overhead and laughed. Natsuhi's finger slowly squeezed the trigger. And go! Ellie made an all-out dash at the door and ran into it, crushing the candle stand that had been bearing it and making it possible for a big gap to be opened in the door. He kept kicking the candle stand through the gap, and the door was finally released. At the time, they heard it. Then the crisp sound of gunfire rang out once.
Mom! Mom!
Jessica-chan, you mustn't run off by yourself.
Was the sound of a gun just now? Did not Natsuhi shoot? At whom? At the culprit! The noise had come from the entrance hall. And the entrance hall looked like a stage, like a heroine of tragedy on the ground bathed in light, arrayed in the beauty of that silence. And Natsuhi laid face up, crumpled on the floor. Half-crazed Jessica ran down Natsuhi. On Natsuhi's forehead, almost though a sparkling shard of pigeon blood ruby had been placed there. Of a pigeon blood ruby, yeah. And from it, one stream of blood makeup passed by her eye and began to traverse her face. A faint smell of gunpowder smoke came from the barrel of the rifle Natsuhi still grasped. Huh? Then, she shot herself in the forehead? Why?
Mom! 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 Yeah!
I don't get it. Why did that Nazi run away alone? I'd shoot through her own forehead.
Maria-chan, Aunt Natsui left the room after reading a letter, right? There's no letter here. Damn it. What did Aunt Natsui read? And why was she lured out here?
I don't know. Who cares about that? What the hell? Why did she kill herself? Why did she leave me here all alone?
Jessica clung to her mother's corpse, crying earnestly. Her body was consumed with anger. Didn't know what to do with. Snatched the rifle from Aunt Natsuhi's hands. He spun around, pointing the barrel of the gun in the darkness on all sides. It was pointing a light from a lighthouse, trying to find the culprit. George Anarchy, even in this situation, was trying to calmly figure something out. But that might have been a fruitless effort. And Maria was completely indifferent. So is this all supposed to be some kind of predetermined fate? No. That's not it. This is all a prelude to a wonderful world. The door to the Golden Land will finally open.
On the ninth twilight, the witch shall revive, and none shall be left alive. And on the 10th twilight, at journey's end, you shall attain to the power of the Golden Land's treasures, once and for the last time. With this, everything is over, Beatrice. Congratulations! Congratulations! So lead me. Lead me to the Golden Land you told me of. Right now!
There all the dead will be revived, and even lost love will be restored. So in Maria's eyes, though all of today's tragedies didn't happen, though all the time she spent deprived of love never happened. Stop it! What's so fun? What's to be congratulated? There are 18 people on this island. 14 are dead. Only the 4 of us are left. I'm definitely not gonna die. So this night is over. No. So the typhoon passes and the seagulls gather again on the harbor. I'm definitely not gonna die. I'll stay alive. I'll stay alive no matter what.
Give it up, Battler. Guns are useless against witches. Survival and all that stuff doesn't matter, because it's over. The journey has already ended. See? Look at the clock.
Huh? The clock? Hearing those words, looked at my wristwatch. Both knees were almost touching near the top. Very soon it'll be midnight. In other words, midnight. When you think about it, isn't midnight a strange time? It can be called midnight. I'm not even going to bother with that. They are the culmination of the previous day. Same time it's how zero as the next day begins.
Beatrice!
Maria suddenly called out happily and ran towards the darkness. Almost though Beatrice was somewhere in that darkness. Maria was running up to her. As Jessica hugged her mother's corpse, Jordaniki stood there confused. I looked down the barrel of a rifle, gazing into the darkness. Space in front of Beatrice's portrait lay in that direction. And then Maria running up to us. Portrait's subject. You've got to be kidding me. This is just impossible! I could evolve something like this. Witches don't exist. I won't accept it. Something like you shouldn't exist. This is the human world. I can accept something that isn't human. I definitely won't accept it. Pulled hard on the rifle's lever, the cartridge was ejected. Fell on the floor and a new cartridge was loaded. Decided the witch down the barrel. Maria turned around. Still clinging to the golden witch, she turned around.
Didn't I tell you it was meaningless? Mere lead bullets are meaningless against Beatrice. Humans are so stupid, aren't they?
I won't accept the existence of witches. Who are you? Try moving one step. Just moving one finger. I'll blast you away. As the witch. No. As the witches laughed. Even the large clock in the hall joined in on their laughter. They were telling us that it was midnight. With the tone telling us that we reached the culmination of this day. Tone informing us that it all returned to nothing. The rule of the witch would win when time ran out has already been revealed.
Battler, Totoni-san, and Jessica. The journey has ended, and the witch is revived. See?
And none shall be left alive. The witch shall praise the wise and bestow 4 treasures. One shall be all the gold from the Golden Land. One shall be the resurrection of all the dead souls. One shall be the resurrection of the love that was lost. One shall be able to put the witch to sleep for all time. Sleep peacefully, my beloved witch, Beatrice.
Oh, I thought. Is there one more chapter?
Wait for it. Alright, everybody shut the fuck up. I have to say something really important. When the next thing starts.
Mm.
Okay. The storm passed, and the leaden clouds that had enshrouded the island for so long began to clear away. Sunbeams shone from the rifts between clouds. Yesterday's storm seemed like a lie. Someone had wished the seagulls returned to the harbor once again and let their lively cries be heard. Afterwards, the police arrived and concluded an investigation of the scene. Conducted. The corpses of the children who had been believed to have survived to the very end were never found. But from the body parts that were discovered of the unimaginably gruesome nature of the scene, the police were forced to conclude that the chances of survival for any of the 18, including the children, were hopelessly dim. Sorry. Just how gruesome was the banquet of the witch, and how beautiful was the Golden Land. Those tales are for them alone, to tell amongst themselves. They have no tale for those who arrived after the banquet had ended. One can only but imagine what transpired during the course of those 2 days. However, the witch was fickle. She made a point of leaving behind the tale, which had no need to be told, and permitted it to be spread. Years later, a strange wine bottle drifting on the waves of the quay side of a neighborhood island was recovered by a fisherman. Inside was tightly wrote notebook pages, crammed full to their edges with minuscule writings. Written there was the tale of it would be through those pages. People would first fucking riddle, yeah, whatever. They refer to this as Rokenjima mass murders, the 18 killings of Rokenjima, but dilettantes around the world pass the story into the night witch legend. Lovers of the occult claim the story, ritual, and yeah. I can't read this fast. According to the written signatures, her name was Ashura Maria. Furthermore, as a result of an all-out police search, part of Maria's body has been discovered. A piece of her jaw. One of those variances where the owner of the body part was able to re-identify through dental records. Many reports that cannot be linked to any specific person in those gruesome scenes. So the dog can be called an extremely fortunate find. Because the jaw had been separated from its body, the police consider their chances of survival to be hopelessly dim, even though no other parts were found or identified. This includes his tale into the final paragraph of the notebook pages that Maria had left behind. By the time you read this, I'll probably be dead, although there may not be a corpse. You who have read this, please uncover the truth. That is my only wish. To this very day, the truth of the Witch Legend serial murder case has not been brought to light. First game, Legend of the Golden Witch result. Kraus dead. I'll point out the important ones.
Stake of Asmodeus, stake of Beelzebub, stake of Mammon, stake of Satan, stake of Lucifer, stake of Belphegor, stake of Leviathan.
The witch praised her nobility and granted her the honor of a duel. Missing on the 10th Twilight. Invited to the Golden Land. Missing on the 10th Twilight, invited to the Golden Land. Battler. He denies the existence of the witch. Will she invite him to the Golden Land? The witch shall praise the wise and grant 4 treasures in the Golden Land. If they can choose to revive the souls of the dead and the love they possessed, because of what they desire cannot be granted from a mountain of gold, no matter how high. For George's lost fiancé. For Jessica, her loved one. For Maria, the lost love of her mother. Rest in peace, Beatrice. May your slipper never be disturbed again. The winner is the Golden Witch Beatrice. All 18 died, and when the seagulls cried, none were left alive.
Oh, I remember something now.
I bet you do, and you're gonna keep fucking quiet.
I sure the fuck am!
We did it. Now,
We did it.
who wants
Let's
tea?
fucking go. Let's
we gonna-
fucking go.
We're gonna do that.
Oh, orange, you motherfucker.
Tea?
Come on,
So,
T, right now it's 1 in the morning. I want
So
my...
we're gonna spill some tea.
You motherfuckers, I know what you're doing.
She has a witch. I mean, the witch is a gift for us.
Is this a spoiler?
I mean,
You're fine.
not really.
Oh, I mean, I could
It's
go
not
for
a spoiler if they literally
Are
tell
we
you.
touching that? Are we touching the tea party?
I'd kind of like to. It's much shorter than everything else.
Go
Yes.
ahead.
Alright.
Yeah, it's super short.
Come on.
So, these are like, don't you want to introduce these? These
Sure.
are like, what is
So
it?
you know
kind
how-
of author notes like?
So you know how in Higurashi, we would sort of skip like there's like these after parties where the characters would sort of talk about theories and stuff. It wasn't quite as interesting in that one, and also for some reason you're fucking required to complete these to get to the next episode. So we're just gonna go ahead and peep them and see what the fuck they say.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it's a murder mystery, so it'll be very interesting to see the theories.
That too.
Alright.
I wonder if we're going to Golden Land right now.
Purgatorio.
The fuck?
What, now we're pulling in Dante?
Viennetta now?
We already had a Beatrice.
Oh.
Hey everyone, good job finishing Umineko no Nakakuro ni. Man, I still didn't have a clue what was going on when the story ended. Now we're gonna go ahead and read some character tips real quick because everybody's dead.
Everybody's
feel like
fucking
I-
dead.
Jessica was chewed to bits by demons and went to hell.
You to bits by demons.
How does it say about my son George?
She was chewed to bone by demons and went to hell.
But what about Battler?
All of the magic was spoiled thanks to a stubborn idiot. Shermia Battler, missing. The fool who spoiled the world where everyone could have been happy. Beatrice is very angry, but for some reason she looks she's having a lot of fun. Also, is the first fun new toy she's had in 1,000 years. If only this idiot could just hurry up and see you like the rest.
Wait, what did it say about Shannon again? Like,
Oh.
it said...
I think it probably
It
says
didn't
the
say
same
anything
thing.
new. It didn't say anything new.
It didn't
What?
say anything new?
This is
No, not
Jessica.
Shannon, I meant Jessica.
Oh,
Hold
Jessica?
up a
Jessica,
said the
same
same
as the
thing.
other.
Like I said,
Shoot the
You didn't, you didn't look at Abe.
Even though she was
though.
given a precious invitation, a single idiot refused to
Hold
believe.
up.
Okay.
What does it say for Maria?
She did drugs.
Well, that's not ominous at all.
So she died before she went to hell. No.
So, what just happened? Was that
It
basically
was
the
a little
bad
bit of
ending?
it was a bit of a fast forward after the end of the last scene, and I guess Battler refused to believe in Beatrice. None of them went to the golden.
Whoa. Let's get through this and then we'll do the discussion.
Okay.
Where the culprit gets
So, what
exposed.
just happened? Was that basically the bad ending where time runs out before the culprit gets exposed?
Definitely a bad ending.
That's right. Beatrice's letter, which Maria-chan read on the first day, did tell us in advance to solve the riddle of the epitaph. We were all so busy trying to protect ourselves and look for the culprit, we didn't even have to even take a shot at it.
That's right. If we had actually tried to solve the riddle, maybe things would have ended differently.
I wonder about that. Shane, you did a good job too. You don't have to be our waitress and serve tea. After all, this is a rap party. As a group of people who met a horrible fate, let's all get along and lick each other's wounds. Lick, 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 lick.
Speaking of a horrible fate, Shannon beats the rest of us hands down, doesn't she? She was such a beautiful character, so I thought she'd definitely survive until the very end. But she was killed right in the beginning. And on top of that, what was it? Half of her face was smashed in, right? That's the worst.
That was my role, so, there was no way around it.
Boy. Mason, it's nothing for you to worry about. Judging by the last epilogue, even Milady and the rest of them met with an extremely tragic end.
It seems so. I think I remember seeing this horrible picture. Kind of like my entire body had been eaten apart and dismembered.
Speaking of which, don't you think Ken's last moments were the coolest? Even though he had the tables turned on him, it was a showdown with the culprit, right? It's a whole bunch better than our confusing last moments, right?
Though in the end, I was unable to get a solid hit in.
Still, I think Canon-kun's death was a big hint. After all, because of that, the existence of the 19th person was made clear.
That's right. At that time, everyone's location was obvious. So it was impossible for anyone other than some unknown 19th person to kill Cannon.
I said it was Beatrice from the beginning over and over.
I don't want to believe it, but that does prove the culprit was a witch calling herself Beatrice.
That's right. There were many strange things that happened that a human couldn't do.
Only a witch could do things like murdering Aunt Eva in that closed room. A human couldn't do that.
Not only is the existence of the 19th person clear, but it's also obvious that this person holds a power that humans can't even imagine.
In that case, I don't think there's anything wrong with calling this person Beatrice.
We probably met at the very end. Met with the Golden Witch.
Like I kept saying, Beatrice exists. You know what? That because no one ever believed. Even one of her witch friends says that miracles won't occur if you don't believe.
That's right. Beatrice-sama is generous to those who respect her.
It seems to me that Maria-sama was never the target of Beatrice-sama. Rather...
Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck. Sorry, I took a deep breath, I ran out of air.
It's fine, just keep going.
It seems to me that Maria-sama was never a target of Beatrice-sama's wrath up to the very end, despite the horrible crimes that occurred one after another.
Well, Maria believed in Beatrice from the very beginning. But if that's the case, how do you explain why you and the rest were all killed? You guys believed in Beatrice just as much, right?
Beatrice-sama probably had her reasons.
If the song of the epitaph represented Beatrice-sama's resurrection ceremony,
Many sacrifices were needed. He must simply have been designated to be one of those.
Shan-chan, you met a horrible end. At the very least, I wish your death could have been more peaceful and pretty.
Well, it's not like it hurt.
Wait.
Anyway, right now I'm perfectly fine, so don't worry.
Hey, Orange, if I may ask,
Mhm.
should Kaneko be taking notes in this part?
No, it's fine. Just keep going.
No, just keep going.
Let's just keep going.
Just keep going.
Just keep going.
After seeing him stroke Shannon's cheek, which had been crushed during the story, everyone laughed out loud, smiling.
Ha ha ha.
Well, it feels a bit weird saying this, but I was sure the story would fit into the standard mystery genre. I'm a bit surprised to find out that it's a fantasy. After all, a Western mansion shut away from the outside world on an isolated island, with an inheritance problem on everyone's minds, just sounds like a typical mystery novel to me.
It's not fantasy. Beatrice exists.
Yes, we understand. Beatrice-sama does exist.
That's right. Beatrice-sama does exist. I hate to admit it, but I've got no choice. Because it's obvious that a 19th person, a witch, was involved.
Many things happen that'd be impossible for humans. During the story, we try to deny it in all sorts of ways. But now, I can say it for sure. Each crime, every single one, would have been impossible for a human. They'd be impossible to carry out unless it was the witch Beatrice using all the power magic could provide.
The culprit was a witch. That point's perfectly clear. Long live Beatrice.
Everyone believed. I'm so glad.
Gods and witches might seem terrifying to people who are frightened of them. But I think they must be affectionate to those who believe in and respect them.
I think you're right.
So, this murder case game is finally over. Ugh, now's the time to pull ourselves together and try to solve the riddle of the epitaph, just like Beatrice said, right?
I agree. Beatrice will definitely be happy.
Everyone ignored that letter during the story.
Even though it was thrust right in front of us, we almost completely ignored it. I kind of feel sorry for Beatrice-sama.
I got the epitaph written down right here. Let's all solve it. Let's all solve it.
The story probably went wrong ever since that time.
That may be so. Maybe we should have tried solving the epitaph's riddle from the beginning, like Beatrice said. Well, it's a little late now. Even so, let's try solving it now and see if the witch forgives us. Let's go. Let's try to solve the riddle of the epitaph. It was something like, "Behold the sweet-fished river running through my beloved hometown."
Mia put a notebook on the table and opened the page where the epitaph was written. Everyone stared at it, getting really into as they started guessing that this and that about the riddle. Trying by the smell of black tea and freshly baked vanilla cookies, spent the time comfortably and happily. Hold on a second, you guys. But Battler spoke in a way that cut through the conversation. The expression looked a little unhappy. What could he not like about all this fun? Listened to you guys for a while, but why did you all stop thinking? Why are you so sure that the witch was behind all this? Did you realize something like this can't exist? With just those words, the happy atmosphere surrounding this tea party evaporated in an instant. George and Jessica, and Shannon and Cannon, and Maria. All of them stared blankly, wondering what in the world Battler was talking about. Even the foolish, arrogant Battler realized that he hadn't chosen his words well.
Because, isn't it clear that these crimes are impossible for a human?
That's right. That's right. None of these cases would have been possible for a human. That's true. After all, wasn't it full of things that humans couldn't explain?
I don't understand what you're saying, Battler-sama.
I'm the one who doesn't have a clue what you guys are talking about. Isn't it obvious that humans committed these crimes? There's no sign like a witch exists, right?
Then, what about when I was killed in a storehouse and something horrible was done to half of my face? If the culprit was human, how could they have accomplished it?
Well, I'd imagine they did something that awful. But that was the Rose Garden Storehouse, right? Sure, there were plenty of weird tools in there. So they used some electrical tool like a grinder or an electrical saw.
That's... Then, Battler, how do you explain Grandfather's disappearance from the study when he was in a closed room? Even though the door was sealed, Grandfather just suddenly disappeared, right?
Talked about that during the story, too. Not possible that Grandfather used some trick to fool the receipt. I suppose when they went out of the window, fell down, and not so he locked the window from the inside. Think of a bunch of tricks he could use without relying on magic.
That makes sense, but...
In that case, Battlehaircut, how do you explain that the way my parents were killed in the guest room? The door was sealed by a lock and a chain. Naturally, the window was sealed too. How do you think a human could have killed my parents? Huh?
Well, we did have to leave the trick alone. We did have to leave that trick alone during the story. Anyway, there's at least a good chance the culprit has a key. It's possible to look in the crevice of the door that the chain allowed. Now, this is a stretch, but it's possible some device was used through that crack. Maybe they struck something through it. Well, even through a door chain is incredibly simple. It's a big factor in setting up a closed room. So there's probably some closed room trick that they could have used. Brought some closed room mystery novels from the bookstore. Probably find some trick that fit perfectly. Anyway, I can't think of one now, but I claim that there's nothing humans can't do if they try hard enough.
Isn't that argument horribly irrational? It's just ridiculous to claim that it's possible for a human to do something, even though you can't explain how.
Why is that ridiculous? Why don't all of you stop thinking? Even something like that looks impossible has to be doable. Doesn't it always work like that?
Battler, you're the one being ridiculous. If you think a human could have done it, try explaining how. You can't, can you?
And you're okay with saying the culprit is a witch just because I can't explain it? With that argument, all the unsolved crimes in the world could be resolved by saying a witch is the culprit.
Battler, you're sidestepping the issue and you aren't explaining anything. We're saying a human couldn't have done it. Therefore, the culprit is something that isn't human. And that something is a witch. And yet you keep arbitrarily deciding that witches are impossible, even though you can't explain anything. It's almost like humanity was during the Dark Ages. Like those fools who claim the heavens spun around the earth. Those who said the earth couldn't be spinning, even though they couldn't explain why.
That kind of argument kind of pisses me off. Basically what you're trying to say? If I can't explain how a human could do it, then I must accept that the culprit is a witch?
It's not like we're forcing you to go that far. We were just wondering on what basis you can say such nonsense.
Nonsense? Hey. I've been really saying something that weird just now. Am I the one who's crazy? It's really starting to freak me out.
Battler-sama. When I died in the boiler room, I was killed by a 19th person who shouldn't have existed. Can you explain how a human could have done that? At that time, the location of the 18 were well known. Even so, I was killed.
Talked about that in the story as well, right? Kumasao Ba-chan, for example. Literally followed right after you as you headed down to the boiler room, but we can't know for sure whether that was a lie or not. For all we know, she might have entered the boiler room with you and caught you by surprise. Then when you stepped down into the boiler room, you activated some kind of trap that had been set to hit you with one of those ice picks. After all, the stink of Grandfather's body was coming from the incinerator. It was bound to go and check, so if the culprit just set up a trap beforehand, they'd easily stayed away from the place and used that time of Cannon-kun's death to create an alibi.
You talk about a trap in the boiler room, but what kind of trap could that be?
That's right. Following his death, everyone immediately ran over to the boiler room. But we didn't find any kind of weird device, did we?
That's correct. Bella-sama, what kind of trap could I have been killed with?
Well, I don't know that. But anyway, they must have used some kind of clever trap. Maybe someone's lying. What about this? Cannon-kun, what if the whole thing was just you play-acting? That's it, you were play-acting! Eva and Uncle Hideyoshi were also play-acting. They made the closed rooms themselves and were only pretending to be dead.
Battler? Has your head been, feeling okay? Should I bring some cold drinks?
Don't look at me with those pitying eyes. I'm saying something that crazy, right? Trying to get some possibilities you might find if you think of all the tricks. Look, isn't it a pretty classic trick in mystery stories to have one of the victims just be playing dead?
A classic trick?
In other words, when Cannon-kun was killed, we know for sure what all the rest of us were. Where all the rest of us were. Assuming that Kumasawa Bachan wasn't lying. It's only counting the survivors. The culprit pretended to be dead and joined a group of real victims so we'd lose track of them, and acted on their own later. Everything could be explained.
Huh? So are you trying to say that Aunt Ava or one of the others was the culprit? But didn't Dr. Nanjo confirm all of their deaths as a doctor?
That's right. Dr. Nanjo checked all the victims. Batla-sama, for your theory to work, wouldn't Dr. Nanjo have to be the one of the culprits too?
Yeah, that's right! Once you consider that Dr. Nanjo might have been one of the culprits and faked the proclamation of death, the whole story changes. See, that's also a classic trick in mystery novels, isn't it?
But Dr. Nanjo was also killed, right?
About that. That's right. Dr. Nanjo faked his death. After all, there wasn't anyone except Dr. Nanjo who could examine corpses properly. Everyone was really confused then anyway. He didn't have any spare time to check and see if he still had a pulse. With this theory, any one of the dead people could have been walking around.
I think it would have been hard for the 6 of us who died in the beginning to do that. After all, the shutter was closed, and there was a padlock that couldn't have been opened from the inside. That's right. Mom was holding on to that key. So Mom was one of the culprits too?
Wait a sec. It wasn't possible for the first 6. But in that case of Anaki's parents, the doors were only locked from the outside. So they could have opened it from the inside. That's right. Built the room, maybe they jumped out of the window and got to the boiler room first. Is that too much of a stretch? Dr. Nanjo made a mistake when examining the corpses. Look, he said it himself, right? There's a very high probability of making a mistake when examining corpses. Disguised it well enough or prepared a substitute body, you could fake your own death. A method or trick that they use for later. And you see, it's not that hard to deny a 19th person existed, right? Much less a witch, right? Because that much is completely impossible.
I don't know why you've been trying so stubbornly to say that one of us is the culprit. In other words, you want to suspect one of your relatives?
That's not it. It's just, it is accept that a 19th person existed. And if one did, I think we should construct our argument from the point of view that a culprit was human. I'll accept it if that it's a witch in desperation. At the very end, if everything else has been disproved. There's no way a witch exists, right? Why has everyone been casually accepting that the culprit is a witch? I think it's great your family love makes you hate the thought of someone close to you being a murderer, but it's not okay to. Is it okay to let that fool you? You want to find the detestable culprit who killed so many people? Anarchy, don't you want to avenge your parents? Jessica, do you want to avenge Cannon-kun and Cannon-kun? Don't you
Don't you want to avenge Cannon and Cannon?
Yeah, I'll avenge the person who's sitting right next to me eating a cookie.
Don't you want to avenge Shannon?
Why are there so many cannons here?
Shannon. You should at least want to know who it was that killed you. Why is everyone totally surrendered and decided that the culprit was a witch? What's wrong with all of you? The foolish and short-tempered battler tried to force his ignorance on the others and yelled at them.
Yuri, what are you doing here?
Everyone just looked at him pityingly, suddenly watching over him. At the time, hey Khan, you want to take over? I think you know who this is.
At that time, the wise Maria laughed and pointed out Battler's mistake.
I'm shocked. Always easy repeating this nonsense. Thinking you figured something out, Battler. So, what's next? How would a human do it? In practical terms, I mean. I imagine you'll say, I just can't think of anything right now, or with some kind of device. Using abstract words to run away and evade the topic. What I really want to know, Battler, is this. Why don't you believe in Beatrice? She exists. So why don't you believe?
Because she doesn't exist. Witches don't exist. There's no way!
It was almost like a spoiled child who just doesn't want to accept something. The pitying gazes quickly closed in around Battler, but they didn't reach his stubborn heart. You realize that you're acting just like a spoiled brat throwing a tantrum, right? Battler-sama, I understand your feelings, but...
Beatrice-sama does exist.
Battler-kun, why don't you believe? Even though there's so much proof.
It does the argument that the witch must have been behind everything just because I can't explain it. I mean, if you don't know how a light bulb shines, that magic is the cause? That's wrong, isn't it? There's nothing that can't be explained without magic. All this about witches and magic is just an abdication of thought. You just surrendered and gave up because you don't understand what's happening. Isn't that right?
What the... Oh, hang on a sec. My thing popped up on me.
Huh?
No. Sorry about that.
Well, unsurprisingly, it looks like you alone won't believe no matter what, Battler. If even a single person doesn't believe, the miracle won't occur. So, if you don't rethink your ignorant theories, the miracle, the magic, won't be completed.
Now I see. I finally figured it out. In other words, you guys are trying to force me to say that witches exist, right? Law that everyone accepts becomes the truth. Is that what this is all about? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I keep going on about this, but what you're doing is all useless. I refuse. You guys are all pressing me, and that's why it's all useless.
Why?
Sorry, but why don't you let me spin the chessboard around one more time? You want me to force me to accept that there's a witch? There's a really easy way. And the indirect way of saying it must be a witch because humans couldn't have done it. If they do, show me a witch doing its magic. Furthermore, what Maria said earlier is what'll really dig her grave. That even one person doesn't believe, a miracle won't occur. Real miracles happen whether people believe in them or not. Even if I alone don't believe. The miracles are magic or witches that exist only because I believe in them are downright lies.
The uneasy mood following Battler's ignorant rant was blown away by a very soft and light laugh. Whose laugh? Battler was surprised. He had never heard that laugh before. When he looked at George and Jessica, at Shannon and Canada Maria, he noticed that they had suddenly gone respectfully silent.
Here she
Everyone?
is!
Our golden witch.
Con, I'm gonna give you a little bit of advice though. Beatrice does not sound British.
Kinda. I have the bit of the twang because she does speak a bit proper, but like, not just dial it back.
To give you an idea, just go with like a tomboy princess, essentially.
Okay.
Just a little bit of feedback. You can keep doing the British one for right now, but just in general.
Alright, but I won't promise that British part may accidentally pop up in there, because that tends to happen.
We'll work it out.
We'll work it out.
Let's
For right now, just go. Just go.
Beatrice.
How amusing! I haven't met such a charming human for quite some time.
Who are you?
So, you don't even know the host of the tea party to which you were invited? How amusing indeed.
This is Beatrice-sama, the Golden Witch who lived for 1,000 years.
It is an honor to be graced with your presence, Beatrice-sama.
Please forgive Balor-kun's ranting.
This guy's just stubborn. He doesn't understand the situation he's in.
What a treat this is! Most witches get tired of living after the first 1,000 years. How nice it is to meet a man with backbone such as yourself every once in a while.
It is quite an honor to be present when Beatrice shows herself, Battler.
How astonishing. Are you that desperate to make me believe that a witch, that 19th person is the culprit? This is starting to get interesting. And it's all useless. It must be the illusion that Maria and the others keep calling the witch, Beatrice.
How stubborn can you get?
I'm very excited.
Exist if everyone believes in it. You have that kind of half-existence, right? That's why you want to make me believe you. You can't exist because I alone don't believe in you. Isn't that right?
Your powers of comprehension aren't bad for a mere commoner who knows nothing of magic. Yes, it seems you were born with a strong magic-resisting power. You're a natural enemy of us witches. No matter how much we turn your world upside down, you never believe in us. Therefore, the magic won't succeed. I accept that attitude of yours.
I've got no clue what you're saying. It's very kind of you to go to all the trouble of showing yourself to us. I don't believe you exist in the slightest. It's true that many strange things happened during those 2 days. Like Maria said earlier, even though I think of all the tricks that can be explained, I still gotta like the practical details of each one. However, that doesn't mean that I'll surrender. I'm different from the rest of them. Got it? Except for that was the work of a witch just because I can't explain it.
This keeps getting more amusing. Making you surrender will be worth my while. You're just the kind of man I'd like to force into praising my name. I'd love to try making a man like you kiss my toes.
No thanks. You wanna talk nonsense? Yeah. Talk all you want. I deny you exist. All the events can be explained with human tricks. Never for even a speck of magic or witches.
Also, Battler is a boob man.
Oh, by Kingda!
Wonderful! What a perfect way to divert oneself from 1,000 years of boredom. Then let me ask you. A short while ago, you said that using the crack in the door would be sufficient to kill Eva and Hideyoshi, right? Explain how they could have been killed by using some human trick.
Only jumping right into the toughest part, are you? Does that mean this is the trick you're proudest of? Miss Real Culprit. The shake of her golden pipe. Gentle, multicolored smoke trailed out of the end. The smoke quickly obscured their surroundings. They were suddenly in the hallway of the mansion. The door in front of them, slightly opened but secured by the chains, was... That's right. The door to the room where Ava and Hideyoshi were killed. Nice trick.
Very well. How is that Beatrice voice, by the way?
Oh, that's actually perfect.
You're doing pretty good.
That's perfect.
We can work on it more later if we need to, but for right now, you're golden. Pun intended.
Ah,
Boo, bad pun.
Hmm.
Show me what you would do through this small crack, Battler.
They probably had some device to shoot those ice picks. These that.
How would they reach Ava over on the bed when you can't even see far through this crack? And how would they reach Hideyoshi in the bathroom with the door shut?
Damn,
Tell me that,
there's a
darling.
crack. There should be some way.
If you can't think of one, allow me.
Oh, how would a witch do it? Come on, let's see your little trick.
Battler, you're being rude to Beatrice.
When did you get here?
I've been here, bitch.
How nice. What a charming man. That will make it even more fun to force him into submission.
Don't let me kiss your toes that much. Only if I surrender. But watch. I'll definitely expose this trick. Then I'll make you kiss my ass instead.
What a delightful man! I remember that promise. Weak witches kiss the behinds of demons to gain power. Because there's no more humiliating oath. Just being told that makes me want to force you into surrender.
Paying no mind to Battler's worthless ranting, Peters once again shook the golden pipe. That's right, that golden pipe was her precious magic cane.
Come, arise, children. I am the guide of purgatory. Forgive the deadly sins and hold the 7 states.
Guided by those magic words sound like a command. 7 stakes gathered. The stakes of the 7 demons symbolizing the deadly sins of sinful people.
Beelzebub and Asmodeus. Come, forgive the sins. Release the spirits of the sinners.
What? Picks of Beelzebub and Asmodeus responded to Beatrice's call. 2 stakes of the demons were stuck into the crack of the door, like billiards balls struck with a cue stick. And several scattered noises reflected through the wall, making a sound like a woodpecker. At the end, a pleasant sound could be heard. It was a small, satisfying sound, like the one heard when someone is chopping firewood, and the falling axe neatly and easily slices through the wood. Sound of the 2 picks burying themselves deep into Ava and Hideyoshi's foreheads.
Right down the middle. Want to see?
Definitely her 2 sounds like a pair of foreheads being split open. Kylo wasn't permitted to see it since he was on the other side of the door. Those 2 had died again. The second time they had laid not an inch apart from where they had lain the last time, with the exact same blood spray as before. You moron. That's insane! You just kill them like that!
I can kill them. I can kill them just like this. Oh.
Well, they were no longer in the hall, but seated at the tea party where they had started from. Everyone but Battler was sitting meekly, but Cannon was moaning, fresh blood dangling from his mouth. What a rude thing to do at a tea party. Satan's stake was buried deep in Cannon's chest. Cannon-kun! Cannon-kun! Damn it! Battler was the only one getting agitated. George, Jessica, and Shannon and everyone else was meekly hanging their heads like students being yelled at by their teacher.
Cannon was captivated by a trifling anger and tried to disturb my banquet. Being easily captivated by anger is your deadly sin. Cleanse yourself, repent, and do it over.
yes! I do it again!
Beatrice-sama! Please, forgive him! I think Cannon-kun has repented enough! Wonderful. I am generous to those who respect me.
Don't screw with me! Whether your existence just because of this cheap act. Like hell you're a 1,000-year-old witch. Tricks aren't 1,000 years old, they're just the sum of a century of classic tricks in the mystery genre. No such thing as magic. Definitely not. All these crimes can be explained with human tricks.
You explain my 1,000 years with 100 years of humans. Good, good. That's why I like you.
Foolish battler.
Cut it out, Buttercup. You can't go against the witch.
Shannon started moaning, holding her cheek. Maybe she had a toothache. It only wasn't a toothache after all. A slight redness spread across the cheek Shannon was holding. The redness was causing Shannon unbearable pain. Her fingers were pressing against her cheek and drops of sweat appeared all over her body.
Shannon! Shannon! Hang in there! Hang in there!
What's going on? Damn it! What the hell is this red stuff? That expanded rapidly, covering half of Shannon's face. And the stupid dunce battler finally realized.
Please, please, Buttercup! Please believe in Beatrice-sama! I beg you! Because you won't believe! Because you won't believe! The magic is dissolving!
For the first time in his life, Battler heard that sound, like a pomegranate splitting. The red spray even landed on Battler's face. Poor Shannon's face had been split in half, and her last horrible moments in that storehouse were repeated once again.
Shannon! Oh god, no.
Damn it! Damn it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Don't humiliate the dead! Don't humiliate the dead!
No.
The time the redness spread across George's entire body. The beautiful cloud drawn by milk when poured into black tea. Spread and extended across his entire body. And as it did, it seemed to give George increasingly greater pain. Looking at this bizarre spectacle, Battler was petrified as he frantically thought with his pitifully clumsy imagination. About the nature of this strength, the strange dead George and the rest were experiencing. Eventually the redness reached the nearby Jessica as well. Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! What did Aniki do? What did Jessica do? Just stop it! I can't yell that much, it's fucking late.
Battler. Don't let the witch break your spirit. Deny her. Erase her. As long as one person denies her, she's an illusion that can't exist.
Are you okay, Jessica? Aniki? George was no longer recognizable as human. Only a pile was left of her meat after the good, delicious meat had been scraped off to be cooked. And even resembled a human's the shape of his lower jaw and ribcage. But that Jessica, who was covered with a steadily strengthening redness, was approaching the same fate.
Battler? Quick, believe in Beatrice. If you don't, everyone's magic will dissolve.
Maria, it's all over your body too!
I revive all the dead with my magic. But as long as you don't believe, that magic will continue to hold no true power. But I'm sure that a man like yourself won't surrender to something like this, right?
Battler, we didn't want to tell our friends. We refused to face reality. It gave into the witch. But, Battler, you won't give in to the witch.
Jessica! Yeah! Poor Jessica met the same end. Just like George, he ended up in like a butcher's leftovers. George and Jessica were now so destroyed and melted and mixed up, it was impossible to tell them apart.
Battler? Don't cry. Beatrice will restore the dead over and over. So there's nothing to be sad about. So, even if we die, we're still just fine.
Maria! Let's begin eating the whole of Maria's body. The foolish battler watched and screamed. I won't forgive you. I'll never forgive you. A witch? Magic? I'll risk my body and soul to deny you. No matter what happens, I can't accept you. Now that you're gone so far to piss me off, I'll never forgive you! I won't forgive. I won't forgive. I definitely won't forgive you. You regret making me, or sure me a battler, your enemy. I'll deny you no matter what. No matter how baffling things get, you can all be explained by humans. I'll erase every cell of you from this world. Yeah!
So, we fucking lied. This is important.
Fucking go.
So, before anybody goes, I would like to get the reactions of people that have no experience with this whatsoever.
So, I know we've been dragging along Orange. We do have something else.
There's one more thing. It's actually, like, genuinely short.
Short, and it's the most important fucking thing we need to hit tonight.
Trust me, like, you guys will all
Last time you said something was short, that was an hour
look,
ago.
Look, Shelly, if you want to dip out, you can. Like, but this is genuinely short.
This is hey, look, Sakine!
You can just you can watch it later if you want to.
I mispronounced that. My apologies.
One thing
I have a day off tomorrow. I just don't want to kill my sleep cycle.
I know you can dip. Yeah,
You're just like, trust me, you guys will be happy to see what happens at the end.
Is it under 10 minutes?
Yeah.
No.
It's fine. I've done this far. I might as well finish it off.
Because genuinely, the next part we're hitting is very important.
Also,
given everything that, given
Here you
every, sorry.
I will also say before we start, if you know anything, we need you to shut the fuck up.
God damn, fuck me.
Given everything.
Hey, Orange, can I go ahead and have that channel?
Interrupting Khan over and over? Could we not?
Yeah, here, I can make you something. Go ahead, Khan.
Wait, who the fuck is that?
Oh well, I tried.
Wait, chill, you're hot, Mike.
A little bit of hot mic
Can
there,
I go?
Shelly has been sent to the Silent Hill.
I'd say Shelly.
Khan, you can go now. Sorry.
Thank you. Anyways, if everything actually has gone the way I thought it would, then I know exactly who's going to appear.
Wait, you think? Wait, what did you say?
Can't you hear me?
I had to turn down the volume of the stream a bit on my end.
Oh.
It's fine on the stream end. It's just
on the Discord stream. My personal Discord.
Know exactly who's
Hey,
gonna appear. You said.
Zakuru, they follow me on Twitter.
But yeah, what did you say, Colin?
I said, I think I actually know what's going to happen next, if everything is going the same way I thought it would.
Who do you think's gonna appear?
Like I'm telling you guys.
Okay, fair enough.
I think we're about to do the time whip again. Oh.
And your soundtrack, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, Prison Strip fucking slaps.
yeah, it's a great check. Again, we're
shout
gonna
out
be
to-
saying that a lot with Umineko tracks.
Shout out to 45. They do fucking good work.
Also, I am having my own personal fucking theory crafting session with you guys after the normal theory crafting session.
Do we want to push off the theory crafting for the start of next session? Because I'll be honest, even I'm hitting my
I know
limit.
you say it's like it's the best content, Joshy, but I think we can just have like a nice little like personal one to ourselves if people want to. Okay. Khan, this next section's all you.
Yes.
And as I suspected.
Actually, I think I'll probably be doing the narration, but for the most part, it's all you.
Then I believe I know who's coming up.
Oh, God. Oh, what the fuck?
Oh!
Well said! Battler, was it? That's just the thing to divert me from my 1,000 years of boredom. Come, explain. Try explaining it with all human tricks. And learn how lowly humans are. Let's see if what humanity has built up in 100 years can oppose my 1,000 years. That's what will make forcing you to submit so pleasant. So tell me, you who call yourself Battler, what about Maria's letter? How the 6 were killed? The shutter? The receipt's seal? The closed room with the chain? Cannon in the boiler room? Genji and the others in the lounge? Natsuhi's suicide? The riddle of the epitaph? The location of the hidden gold? Yes, Battler, why don't you show me the power of humans?
Ah! Question mark has been added.
Question mark.
Alright. One last bit. I actually wasn't expecting that last part, but this is actually the last bit.
And that was only 3 minutes, so I don't care.
Welcome to the tea party of the unhuman.
Of the what?
The tea party of the unhuman.
Unhuman.
What sort of tea should I prepare next? You have free choice of any brand that ever was throughout the ages.
Oh! So, Khan, go with a voice you think fits for this character.
Dried plum black tea. The kind that goes for 200 yen a pack.
The mature version.
For 1,000 years I've been fond of black tea, but I did not know of such a thing. I will never tire of living in this world.
Bito, you don't have to display such hostility. I am just a wandering witch. I didn't come with the intention of violating the rules of your territory.
Hostility? I bear nothing of the sort. I am just terribly concerned with seeing to it that the legendary witch Lady Berncastel is well attended to.
You must understand. I am powerless. Before a witch such as you, who possesses the dreadful power to kill an individual 100 times, I am completely powerless.
That a powerless lady witch like you possesses a power that none can approach is what is truly terrifying. After all, that great witch, Lady Lambda Delta, was dethroned by you alone.
I only won an endurance contest. She simply got tired.
That is not what Lady Lambda Delta said, though. Ah, too much humility can seem unlikely, Lady Berncastel.
That girl has a dreadful power. The power to kill an individual without fail. However, without fail doesn't exist in this world. No matter how many times you divide 1, you can never reach 0. That girl has the power to bring the odds of failure down to almost exactly 0. The power to give rise to almost perfect certainty. I hope I never have to fight such a terrifying witch again.
However, you have the power to cause success without fail as long as the odds are not 0. Though you may say without fail doesn't exist in this world, you possess an infallible power yourself. How very terrifying.
The power to kill an individual endlessly. I think you're the more terrifying one.
You jest. From your point of view, mine is but a trifling power. This is most certainly what one would call empty praise.
Call it flattery to make up for the cost of staying here. I am a fleeing traveler who crosses the fragments, continuously running from boredom. I simply came around because I heard you'd started something interesting. Having no doubt that I will choose to leave as soon as you are no longer interesting.
I, Beatrice, am simply and deeply humbly delighted to have the great Lady Berncastel as an observer. Ah. And so, your impressions?
Lambda Delta is terrifying because of her cruelty, but she's a girl I can understand. You do seem capable of affection, but I can't understand you at all. That makes you much more terrifying than her.
I am fickle by nature. Do forgive me. Besides, I believe you also enjoy entrusting your fate to the roll of fickle dice, right, Lady Berncastel?
When I rolled the dice, I have a roll I clearly want to get. Unlike you. You, on the other hand, never let the dice fall from your hand. So whatever the roll might have been, you're never disappointed. Whatever roll the dice shows you, you're satisfied without fail. In that sense, you far surpass me. You're the one I really don't want to fight with. Instead of you, there's nothing but zero.
Inside.
Inside of you, there's nothing but zero. That's why I can't win against you with my power. It's the worst compatibility. Perhaps Lambda Delta, on the other hand, has a good compatibility against you, since she would be able to kill your endless nature.
Oh yes, witches truly are the best people to enjoy black tea with. One doesn't get bored.
Then I'm relieved. Boredom is the only poison that can kill me. So don't kill me, okay?
Lady Beatrice, Endless Witch. If such is your wish, I, Beatrice, shall show you an even better time. In that case, wouldn't it be best if I brought the next chessboard in right away? It seems the next tale would do more for you than another cup of black tea. Just wait for a moment.
Something troublesome seems to have taken a liking to you.
Before we continue,
I'd really like to lend you my power. But as you just heard, that girl's power and mine have a very bad compatibility.
can you check the character sheet real quick?
Sure, sorry, Con.
Yeah, there's shit that popped up. There we go.
Lady Berncastel, the Witch of Fragments who has lived for 1,000 years, lives in a world where concepts like fate and possibility can be made visible, observe the fate of humans, and sometimes interferes. In other words, sometimes she is you, and is also your only friend. Understand? Likes wine and spicy foods, hates boredom and those who never learn. She has a little cat's tail.
Wait, she's a cattail?
Yeah, yeah. See? Look.
Oh.
What about the other character?
No.
It's just Beatrice.
But you really are pitiful, so I'll help you out just a bit. First of all, about that girl. She does have the name Beatrice, but that doesn't necessarily mean she is one individual woman. Get what I mean? In other words, she's not some human. Her existence is a personification of the rules of this world. To beat her, you'll have to expose the rules of this world and unravel them. Perhaps this can be likened to learning the rules of chess by watching a game. First, take a good look at a chessboard. Then, learn the movements and roles of the pieces. Then look for the conditions required to win at her game. When you've managed to reveal all these things, her heart will be exposed. After that, you can rip it apart or crush it as you please. I am being quite generous. In the past, when I had a human body, it took me 100 years to notice even this much. This is my meager farewell gift to you, the pitiful one captured by Beetle. It's just like a spoon. A spoon can be used for more than just drinking soup. You can use it to dig through the prison you're locked in, or as a weapon to gouge the witch's eyes out. Of course, you can also use the spoon to continuously sip the watery soup inside your eternal cell. Don't get the wrong idea. I have no intention of becoming your ally. I do feel empathy for you, but I won't help you. It's like I'm sitting in front of the television yelling at you on the other side, even though my voice won't reach you. So, you understand that I'm a witch, right? I intend to enjoy this endless tale that Beetle is going to weave until I tire of it. But that alone won't hold my interest. That's why I'll lend you my power. It's also that I don't get tired of this. I am the cruelest witch in the world. Whomever the opponent may be, I'll make them surrender with certainty. Even if it's Beatrice, the Endless Witch. Okay? You are my game piece. Give it your best shot. I'll give you some advice sometimes, out of her sight. Don't bore me, okay?
So, yeah, you can kind of guess. Why
Go spoilers, huh?
So, should we like not necessarily?
They don't all
You know what? We will
that.
not confirm nor deny anything. As always, I will say this to state this: Ryukishi does like using this design a lot.
Alright, so I'm glad a lot of my fucking worries, like about spoilers, have now been evaporated.